welcome to Toastmasters in the Community. I'm your host, Fran Okeson, and I would like to welcome you all to our show. Before I forget at the end of the show, if anyone is interested in learning more about Toastmasters, our new year has just begun today. Today is July 1st. That's the beginning of the new Toastmasters year, and all the clubs in Area 64 on Staten Island are looking to build membership. My information email is at the bottom of the script at the end of the show, and you can get in touch with me anytime, and I'll be very happy to direct you to the clubs on Staten Island in Area 64, and you can visit and observe, and then we hope you'll join. With me, I want to thank my crew to come in. This is the 4th of July weekend. Most of my crew is not here, so I really appreciate the crew members who came. And of course, I can't see my floor manager at all. I hope he sticks his white sneaker up because everything is black back there. Thank you, I could make that out. All right, with me today is past District 46 Governor Imogene James. Yes, in those days we were district governors.
That's correct.
And Imogene, you served in 1994 to 95, and I liked you as a governor.
Thank you.
We had a lot of good times, and we'll chat at the end, and you're part of my inner circle, always will be.
That's
So,
right. Thanks, Fran.
You're welcome. And Imogene James, one of the nicest area governors going. We old timers still have trouble because now it's area directors and district directors, and that G word tries to sneak out. What I'd like to talk about, some people are letting me know that they like our show because it's very educational. And I wanted to introduce you to my husband. My husband, Emil, passed away 25 years ago, May 5th. And we didn't film on the Father's Day show. I think the studio was closed or something, whatever. However, I had some ideas, and I went thinking about what could I talk about. And I figured my husband's story is not too unique, although I asked a few people today if they ever heard of what I'm going to talk about, and they said, no, what is it? So I'm very glad I brought it. When I met my husband, we met in the New Dorp bowling alley many years ago. I heard there was a new bowling alley being built on Staten Island, and I met him there. The Okesons, 3 brothers and 2 wives, were a team. And my husband saw how badly I bowled because I had never bowled before, and he asked me if I'd like to have some lessons. I could meet him at the bowling alley on the Saturday. And what happened was I had a bad relationship with somebody, and I said, no, I don't want to pick up anybody from bowling alley. He said, well, I'll drive you home this Saturday. I won't talk to you the whole way home. So when I got home, and he got home, he called me and he said, all right, I didn't talk to you. Now, can we have a real date? And the rest is history. The next year, we were married, and we had 2 children. But I found out from him then that when he was about 16, 17 years old, he was one of the boys who was sent away to the Civilian Conservation Corps. And my interest piqued because I'm clearing out boxes, and I found an envelope. For a while, I sent away for these envelopes from one of the mints, Franklin Mint or something. And this is the envelope for the Civilian Conservation Corps. If Isaac Gilvinovich, my director, can focus in on this from the control room. If not, you can look it up online. Everything is online these days. You just go to Google and put something in. But this was started, the organization was started in 1933 by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And he had just been inaugurated as our president. And I do remember him in those days. CCCs was organized to relieve the unemployment among the young unmarried men. Therefore, my husband was sent off. His older brother was married and had a job. His sister was a mother, and he was the next of 7 children, so he was sent. He ended up over in California, and he was there until the end of this program, which was about 1938. What happened was it was broken down. The CCC camps were, as I said, for unmarried young men, usually from families that needed some economic help. 3 million men served during the war years. Their jobs included planting trees, building flood barriers, fighting forest fires, and maintaining forest roads and trails. My husband was in the fighting forest fires. That was where he spent his years controlling and going after the forest fires. And it was funny, many years later, he and his brothers built a 30-foot pool in our backyard. And we always had smudge pots because my husband wanted to get rid of the mosquitoes. And one year he had the smudge pots around, and we had the pool full of our family, and a police officer came in. I did a speech on respecting police officers, so you have to smile and respect them. Because the officer came in, he said, I smell smoke, is everything all right? I said, yes, my husband started a smudge fire. He said, a what? So I said, well, go back, he'll tell you about it. That's one of the things that we had. We never had a mosquito or a bug around us when we went in the pool. And a smudge pot, you take dry grass, throw it in a metal pot, you light it up. You wet it a little bit and you light it up, and it doesn't burn as a fire, but it has smoke, and that gets rid of all the insects. All right, now what it was the CC camps were made up like army barracks. They were tents, and these young men had cots in the tents. They were treated as if they were in the military, in their basic training for the military. The pay, you might say, well, what did they give them in those days? They were paid $30 a month. They had to send $25 of that home. But the story is that when my husband came home, and when I finally met him in 1958 at the bowling alley, he could fix, till the day he died, he could repair anything with taking whatever was on the ground he could fix. Until one day the TV repairman came and he said, Okie, you better learn the new television sets because you're not going to be able to fix them anymore. You'll have to pay somebody like me to come and do it. And when Peter bought his 1990 Mitsubishi, my husband went out to look at it because he was in the motor pool in the Army. Peter put up the hood. My husband looked at it and he said, what's that? It had a turbo engine. My husband said, put the cover down. That's it for me. So whatever. We had a very good, well, I just would have celebrated my 57th anniversary. We had a wonderful life together and 2 lovely children. And look up the Civilian Conservation Corps on your Google. You'll find out what a remarkable thing President Franklin Delano Roosevelt created for the people during bad times. And that's the end of my speech. Okay, and Imogene, and you never heard of that thing?
Never heard of it. Thank you for the education.
I'll tell you, since I got used to using Google, I put a word in, and it just opens up the whole world. It's
amazing.
I don't know how they do it, but that's not for me to worry about. I have too many other things. All right, we have a nice show planned today. And I am going to call on our second speaker. Fern, I love it when you come, and I hope you're feeling better. So we'll see more of you. You've been a long-time member of this club. And by the way, you are going to the International Convention in August, and Lucy is going to be carrying, she's going to sign the proxy for this club over to you. Okay, and you know who we're supporting for International Director, and you're getting all the proxies from Staten Island.
Okay, great.
So all 6 will go to you, and I know you'll do a good job.
I'll do you proud, don't worry.
And you're going to call me the minute this person wins,
yes,
right?
Yes, I will.
I'll have the phone on the hook waiting for your call.
Okay.
All right. Now, let's see. What are you doing? Fern Rashkova, DTM. I don't know why you don't get a 2nd, 3rd, and 4th DTM. I have to talk to you more about that. You do the work for it. All right. Your time is 6 minutes, Joan. And your title, I love your title, The Northern Lights. Let's all welcome Fern Rashkova.
Thank you, Ms. Fran, and fellow Toastmasters and viewing audience. Every year I go on these fantastic vacations, lucky enough to be able to do so, and I become obsessed with wherever I'm going. I went to Mount Rushmore. You heard me do a speech on Mount Rushmore years ago. I went to Bryce Canyon and became obsessed with Bryce Canyon in Utah. Last year I went to Alaska, and I became obsessed with the Northern Lights. So today we are going to learn about the Northern Lights. And I would like to show you a picture. Just take a look at that. And we're going to talk about how this happens. Basically, Aurora Borealis is another name for the Northern Lights. And it basically means dawn of the north and can be seen in North America. Likewise, Aurora Australis down at the South Pole can be seen down at the South Pole, and it means dawn of the South. And as I said, today we're going to learn about what causes this incredible act of nature. Now, let me say that the sun creates a solar wind, and these particles travel towards the Earth. As these particles travel towards the Earth has a magnetic shield that's in front of it and prevents these particles from entering the Earth's atmosphere. But sometimes these particles do get in. They come in at the North Pole, pretend that's your head, or they come in at the South Pole, down at your feet. And when these particles get in, they create this incredible Northern Lights situation. So let's talk about exactly how this happens. When the sun's particles get into the Earth's atmosphere, they interact with atoms and molecules on the Earth. Now, oxygen is the atom that these particles from the sun interact with, and nitrogen is the molecule that the sun particles interact with. Now, in these atoms and molecules are electrons, and what happens is electrons get very excited, and when they interact, they go up and down, up and down, up and down. When they fall down, this beautiful light is created. When the electrons interact with oxygen, you get red or yellowish greenish lights. When the molecules interact with the nitrogen, you get bluish purplish lights. And these lights can come in many different forms. They can come in patches of clouds, or they look like rays or streaks of light. They look like streamers, many different forms of the northern lights. Now, where can you see these northern lights? Basically, you need to get up to that Arctic Circle. And if you go to visit northwestern Canada, Alaska, Greenland, Iceland, northern Norway, and Siberia, you have a good chance of seeing the northern lights. To see the southern lights, you need to get down to the South Pole, and most people, well, not too many people in Antarctica, but if you're lucky enough to be in Antarctica, you might see the southern lights, or in Chile, southern Argentina, and of course Australia. Now, this term aurora borealis, interestingly enough, was coined by Galileo in the year 1619. It is named for the Roman goddess of the dawn and the Greek name for north wind. If you want to see an incredible light show, I suggest that you go on Google and you Google the Northern Lights and click on videos, and you will see magnificent examples of all different colors. And you could do the same thing for aurora australis, the southern lights. And what was interesting, because I showed the kids in my school the northern lights and the southern lights. In the southern lights, you get more of your pinks and your roses. It's just unbelievable. Now, I will say I would love to get to Alaska. Fairbanks has a big festival in February, and I understand a lot of people from Japan just flood Fairbanks, Alaska, to see the northern lights. I would love to do that. However, I am not too crazy about minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So I think that I am going to stay home and just watch the videos, and I suggest that you do the same thing. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. And Fern, you were a science teacher all those years, right?
Yes.
I thought so. Very interesting. I have to tell you, though, I did see them. My aunt had a summer home in Breezy Point, Amityville, which is now called Pirates Cove, and we went there every summer. One day, her house was on a little island with one street in the middle. One day, I heard all the neighbors coming out. I went out, the whole sky was lit up.
And this is where?
Breezy Point, Amityville. One time.
Amityville?
Amityville.
Long
yes.
Island?
Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Yes, dear.
Really?
Yes, the whole sky, but it was like a starburst.
Wow.
For my wedding, I went out and I found a pendant that had the blue and the pink colors, and I wore that to my wedding.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, so it does come here.
We'll
you
talk
have to pray to the right God. See, what can I tell you? Okay, beautiful story, and I'll get on Google and look at those pictures. But I couldn't believe it. People saying that's Northern Lights, and they were just standing spellbound looking at it. Anyway, hello, Cindy. Here's another past district. You were a governor, that's right. Paul started.
I was a governor.
Yeah, the director came later. All right. And I love your outfit. It's so nice when people come dressed in the costume that goes with their speech. It shows effort. Effort. I wanted to wear red, white, blue because it's 4th of July weekend. I realized this isn't really red. And in the car in the sun with my eyesight, I figured, ooh, I don't really look right in these colors. But thank you, Cindy.
And who's going to complain about it?
Well, nobody complained yet. All right, this is Cindy Wilson. And Cindy Wilson, I have so many changes on here. Cindy, you served as the District 83 governor from 2013 to 2014. Very pleasant. I was probably an area governor or something under you, too, because I have that every couple of years. And anyway, they're going to keep me as these area things until I learn how to do the job. I've concluded that. You also have 6 minutes, and Paul Scharf, past district governor. Yeah, he was the governor, too. I have to remember, Bill Hood was the first district director, so
Yes.
when it comes to Bill Hood, then I can change the terminology. You gave me the longest title I have ever had in 13 years of running this show, and I never heard of it. You're doing, let's see now, it's from the, okay, I wrote it down here someplace or other. What manual are you doing? Specialty Speeches, I believe. Yeah, and it's the one, Read Out Loud. Okay, I have it here somewhere. And the title is The 7 Ladies Godiva and the Search for a Horse Truth. I have no idea at all, but I'm willing to listen. Let's all welcome past District Governor of District 83, Cindy Wilson.
We have all heard the story of Lady Godiva. However, fellow Toastmasters and friends, did you know that there were 7 Ladies Godiva? According to the book written by Dr. Seuss in 1939, their names were Clementina, Dorcas, Arabella, Mitzi, Lulu, Gussie, and Hedwig. They were each engaged to one of the brothers Peeping, who were addressed by their family name first and their personal name second. Peeping Tom, Dick, Harry, Jack, Drexel, Sylvester, and Frelinghuysen. Due to an unfortunate accident, Lord Godiva was thrown off his horse and was fatally injured. In a tribute to their father's memory, the ladies Godiva pledged that they would not wed until they had brought to light of this world some new and worthy horse truth that would benefit man. Off they went to the stables. Each Lady Godiva thought that without a horse truth, their life would be empty of love. A book of 7 blank pages was hung in the stable, and each sister was to write their horse truth in it when it was found. "To horse!" cried Lady Hedwig. 7 sisters went in, 6 sisters rode out. But Lady Clementina Godiva, also known as Teeny, was not with them. Left behind, left alone, left unnoticed. Teeny was much too fat for any horse to carry. She sat down on a small pile of oats and wept. Her prospects added up badly indeed. No horse, no horse truth. No horse truth, no peeping. No peeping, no nothing. By and by, the oats became very uncomfortable. Teeny got up and went deeper into the stable. Dejected, she wandered past stall after stall. Out in the sunlight, her sisters were trotting, galloping, cantering, earning their love right. Here, it was hot, and the horses dozed drearily. No cooperation, she sighed, as she trudged down the aisles. At Teeny's elbow, a lazy mare yawned. An enormous, crude yawn, uncouth and ill-mannered. Teeny stalked on. Then she sensed something strange, and she stopped and looked back. The yawn, to her amazement, was still going on. Wider and wider the beast's jaw stretched open. Yawn of all yawns, it blossomed. It bloomed from gap to gape, and from gape to gawp. At last it reached its zenith and froze there, ajar. Teeny had never seen anything like it. "I say," puzzled Teeny, "maybe this isn't a yawn after all." The horse almost seemed to be inviting inspection. She stepped up to the mare. It stood still and obliging. She stepped up quite close, and she peered down its windpipe. When the sisters returned to the castle for lunch, they found Teeny in bed. From the crown of her head to the scruff of her neck. She was swathed deep in bandages, ointment, and lint. "Those God," she said simply. "Teeny, poor Teeny," gasped her horrified sisters. "Poor Teeny, nothing." A radiant smile filtered up through the gauze. "You know that mare Uncle Ethelbert gave us last Christmas? With the help of the darling, I filled in my page." "A horse truth?" "A great one," said Teeny. "Don't ever look a gift horse in the mouth." In spite of the fact she was in no shape for kissing, Teeny Godiva married Peeping Tom that very night. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Cindy. Wow. Yes, just so people know, after the basic manual is finished, there are 15 advanced manuals, and you chose, that speech is very difficult to do.
Oh, very. But it's a lot of fun, too, because it does take a little bit of acting and putting yourself out there.
Oh, yes.
Also, when you're reading a book by Dr. Seuss that was written for adults, a lot of people still think about kids' tales. But he first wrote tales for adults, and then he wrote kids' tales.
Oh, I didn't know that. Very good. Thank you. Another bit of history.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
You're welcome.
Cindy. All right. Look who's next.
Oh, no, I'm number 4.
What? Yeah.
I'm the 4th speaker.
And she was the third.
Was she 3rd?
She was third.
Okay.
It was me, Fern, Cindy,
All right.
Imogene, and then Joan.
All right.
So you're up.
All right. You want to give my title or anything?
I'm
else?
going to handle that.
Okey-dokey.
Our next speaker, Imogene, you're getting old.
Yes, I am.
Our next speaker is past District 46 Governor from 94-95, Imogene James, Distinguished Toastmaster. Now you're working from the Humorously Speaking Advanced Manual. You're doing speech number 5, the humorous speech, and Ken Raftery is going to be your evaluator. Does he have your manual?
Yes, he does.
Okay. Lucy Kahn, as the club secretary, would you please initial people's manuals? Joan cannot do it because this year she's Sergeant at Arms. So anybody who's speaking up there with a manual, have Lucy Kahn initial the back of it, please. All right. And your title is, I gave this to Ken Raftery because he's into music big time, so I thought this would be right up his alley. So if you don't really talk about real music, he's going to be very disappointed. But I never quite know what people are going to talk about. So Ken, the title is Mood and Music. I moved that around. Mood and Music. Let's all welcome Imogene James.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and to the audience. I believe that each one of us loves music or some form of music. I've always loved music. However, my taste in music has changed. I have a question for you. Has your taste in music changed, say, since your 20s? Are you listening to different types of music? I can say truthfully for myself, yes, my taste in music has changed. In fact, once my 12-year-old nephew was in the car with me, and he turned the radio on, and I allowed him to, being the nice niece that I am, or the nice aunt that I am. And he said, once he put the music on, oh my God, I could not stand it. But I didn't want to say anything. I didn't dare. But under my breath, I heard myself say, oh my God, I'm getting old. I can't listen to the screaming and the lyrics anymore. But what I found out about myself is not only do I not like that type of music anymore, I play music based on what mood I'm in, how I'm feeling that day, what's going on in my life that day. For example, when I'm cleaning, not my favorite thing to do, by the way, I like to get my broom or my mop, but I like to put on a Stevie Wonder like, you are the sunshine of my life. Keeps me moving, keeps me wanting to finish the job, and I finish the job and don't even think twice about it. Stevie Wonder says music is healing. I do believe that. It depends on the music you're listening to. I remember, this is going back quite some time ago, when someone broke up with me. How dare them, right? Breaking up with me? fellow Toastmasters and guests, he did. And guess, I found myself sitting in my car going down the highway, the Southern State Parkway on Long Island. I had my windows down, I blasted my music, and guess what I was listening to? How appropriate. I was listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire. After the love has gone, you must live on. I just made my own lyrics to that song because love was gone and I had to accept it. I tell you, there have been so many times when music has been so soothing to my soul. That was one instance. I must have played that song 1,000 times. Well, maybe for 3 or 4 months. Well, okay, I'll say a couple of weeks. But I got through that too. In addition to those types of songs, I like to listen to, I love old black and white movies. And one of my favorite movies is the movie Funny Girl with Barbra Streisand. There's a song that I've always wanted to sing to my brother. He has really, my big brother, 2 years older, but he feels he still can tell me what to do, when to do it, how to do it. So one of these days, I'm going to sing this song to him. Don't tell me how to live my life and clutter. Life's candy and the sun's a ball of butter. Don't bring around a cloud to rain on my parade. I've wanted to say that to him for years. I sing it all the time. He doesn't even know it. But I do sing it almost every time we finish a conversation. He's actually one of my best friends, but he is still considers himself my father. You may have a relative like that too. Well, I do think that we all have our taste in music, and I'm so glad that music is around. Elton John says that music can take you out of your element, even if it's temporary. And we do need that, don't we? I don't know what your type of music is. I don't know what you listen to, when you listen to it, and why. But I know that we all have some form of music that we must love. And I leave you with this. I am so glad there is music in the world. My taste may change, but I don't always love music no matter what. And I hope that music will always affect your life in some way. Music is here to stay. I'm going to ask you to keep on singing, keep on dancing, and don't let the world get you down. Madam Toastmaster.
Wow, did I choose the right evaluator for your speech? All right, I forgot that you're a singer. And at my hail and farewell, when I finished my year as district governor, George Sepsi played his guitar and you sang at my reception down there at the pavilion on the terrace.
I remember that.
I forgot that, that's right.
Don't
Well,
sing much anymore.
I have a house that could use a cleaner, and I'll play any music you want.
Just me, a mop and broom, and some music, and I'm there.
My son will sign you up after the show.
Okay.
No, I like classical music.
Oh,
With a
wonderful.
yeah,
Wonderful.
Your stuff, Barbra Streisand, no. Anyhow, and certain Broadway shows, not the silly ones, but Les Miserables, I love all that kind of music. And now we have another replacement, unfortunately. I called you at 7:30 and said that I just got notice that somebody couldn't come.
Shopping. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. I always check my email before I leave the house on Saturday mornings before the show. But this time, look at this book. I don't know if they can see it from there, but see all the corrections? Once I staple the book together, I figure I'm safe, and then everything fell through. Joan, I want to thank you for always, I always leave it to the last, when I have filled the spots, and I know there's always Joan that will take the last spot, and I called, when she walked in the door, I said, do you have something? She said, I always have something, which is good. So Joan, thank you. What speech number are you doing now?
Number 5, vocal variety.
Okay, number 6 is vocal variety.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
If it's number 5, it's
You
your body
know me, I'm
speaks,
stuck
then you
on
have
the
to have
old
your body
book.
speak. What are you doing, 5 or 6?
It's vocal variety.
Okay, so 6. Okay, thank you. All right, Joan, and I think I remember what you told me outside, that this is from the basic manual, speech number 6, vocal variety. And did you say your title was more of the same?
No, here's another half pack. 6
Well,
pack.
I'll see you at the meeting next week.
Half
so you
pack's
can,
a 6-pack.
You can write it down.
Half a suitcase. We're not
Okay.
talking about beer, though.
All right, now you have 6 minutes. I was giving George 7 minutes, but take the 6 minutes,
6 is fine.
okay? And
I might faint before then, though.
whatever turns you on, but I do appreciate that you are here and you always have something in your pocket, which is a good thing to do. So let's all welcome Joan Maurizio,
very
Distinguished Toastmaster, to the 3rd rank. Joan?
Madam in charge of the show, fellow Toastmasters, viewing audience. Everybody knows that's a member in the club that I am, that I love the Reader's Digest, and found this article, 50 Everyday Mistakes and the Solutions for Them. And what's funny about a mistake is if you can catch it before it actually becomes a mistake, you can save a lot of trouble later on. One of the things I want to mention, and I found this out by mistake, because the frozen food manufacturers sometimes put their stuff in square pans. And this is proof of it. They say, put the food in a round container, because if you put it in a square or an oblong pan that's actually rectangular, the corners will heat up before anything else, and you'll wind up with dinner burnt on 4 edges of the plate. So you're better off putting something in a round pan. And I would even imagine if you put your oblong in a round enough pan that's big enough, that would smooth out during the heating process, and maybe you won't burn anything. So I thought that was very interesting, and it's something nobody ever said, and I don't know why the food manufacturers don't know that, but I know what's happened is a lot of them are going to bowls. I notice everything's in a bowl now, so maybe they have figured it out. Maybe they read the Reader's Digest preview. I don't know. Another thing they say is, and I would think a person would know to do this, but sometimes you can do it by mistake, or sometimes an emergency comes up, or the kid yells out in the backyard and you don't know if they fell off the swing. It says when you're on Amazon and you've ordered something and your PayPal account is open, you have to remember to shut it off. Because if you don't, it's just like leaving your credit card on the table after you've paid your bill and somebody else picks it up. You're just wide open to everything. And not just that, on this one little bit of information that they have on you now, they can just branch out and take everything that you own. Please, folks, be very careful when you're online. I don't have a computer, so I can't make mistakes. God forbid I did have a computer, I probably would be making mistakes, so maybe that's part of the reason why I don't own a computer. But the folks out there that do, please be careful with your private stuff. Another thing I noticed that was interesting, and I don't have these things to do it, but I've done it in another way, so I'm going to explain both. It said video games take your pain away. And I just thought that was very interesting. But of course, if you're concentrating on that, how can you concentrate on your pain too? And I was told long ago when I was doing calligraphy, and I started to get some pain in my wrist, play solitaire. So I used to play solitaire for about 15 to 20 minutes at night while the late shows were on and the news was on. You really don't have to see the car crash. You can actually hear it and listen to the reporter give all the facts. But while they were doing that, there was my last 15, 20 minutes of the night, I'd play solitaire. And do you know, in about 2 weeks, my pain was gone. If you work at your pain, and even though it hurts a little, if you work at it, you will get rid of it. And it's the same thing with this. If you can't do it that way, you can at least do it by concentrating on something. I know somebody that plays poker on their machine. He's forgotten all about his pain. He's having so much fun winning millions and millions and millions of dollars. He says, why can't I do this for real, though? But anyway, he's having a blast, and he's acting like a kid again, and I love it. I love to see people revert from what was going on before. Another thing is don't scrap the nap. And I'm so glad I get to do this, because sometimes I only sleep 4 to 5 hours a day. Or, well, at night anyway. You know, you think you live out in the country, sort of, and you're not out in, say, 3rd Avenue or 4th Avenue, and you're in a tenement building, and it affects people in the country, too, type of atmosphere, because you will have these teenagers turning the corner, you hear the tires screech, you hear blasting of horns. Sometimes you'll hear an ambulance or a fire truck go up the street, so you don't always get the sleep you would like to. Light sleepers. They said that 23,000 people over 6 years were tested about this, and they found that they lowered their chance of dying prematurely by 37%. So I suggest to all of you, have your lunch at work, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. Take a half-hour nap. It's very good for you. It'll save your life. Babies and toddlers sweat very little. And I thought this was interesting, because I remember my old days, and parents didn't waste water back then. So this is the way we were treated, once or twice a week. It says they don't sweat unless that toddler or that little baby's out in the mud rolling around and collecting dirt. You really just need to wash their face, their hands, and other parts that touch everything else. But you don't need to have the whole body wash. And they say here, and I thought this was funny, but this is from the Academy of Dermatology. You wash your face and your hands multiple times daily, yes, but you only need the bath if you're 6 to 11 years old once or twice a week. And I think that's odd for today, unless the child sweats a lot. And the last one I'd like to tell you about is popping aspirin. And I had a friend in a lot of pain, popping a lot of aspirin. I said to him, that's not good for you. Your stomach doesn't like it. It says here that you can have dehydration, you can die of old age sooner than you wanted to, and kidney problems. And one of the things they're finding out is there's aluminum in aspirin. And people that are getting Alzheimer's have more access to aluminum. And I just got through reading a study that was done for 30 years. And I'm giving a speech on Alzheimer's on Wednesday night. I'm sorry you can't be there if you can't be there, but it's going to be very informative. And it's shocking what the industry hides from us because they're making billions of dollars using the aluminum. But anyway, don't pop so many aspirins. Take the minimum amount, that little 81 milligrams. Oh, Toastmasters, thank you for listening and not throwing me out.
Thank you, Joan. And we'll hear the next part at the next club meeting, I'm sure. Okay, and now we're going to the evaluation portion of the meeting. Evaluations are, Joan, just make sure you have the list there, right? It's 1.5 minutes. Okay? Again, when you see the, I put that paper away. Joan, how much time do they have when they see the red light, please? I figure about 10 seconds, all right? All right, the first evaluator is Alex Voiland, who evaluated my speech at the beginning of the show. Alex, are you up there yet? It's so
He's
dark.
coming.
Is he? Mm-hmm. People don't understand how dark it is back there. It's like there's a black curtain. And Alex, do you have a district role this year? You were an area director.
My wife is the chief judge of the district.
Oh, wonderful.
And I will be helping her.
Very nice. Are you still going to take training to become a part of my crew here?
I will let you know after the show.
I would love to have both of you involved.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, here we go, and you know the time. Watch the lights, okay? Alex
Okay.
Voiland. Thank you.
Fellow Toastmasters, the storyteller, the camera people, and all you out there, the audience. This was a storytelling guide, bringing history to life. How one president turned boys into men. It gave me an interesting insight on the history of CCC, conservation, and I'm not sure exactly what that was, that program, because 1933 was way before my time. So today I learned several things about history. American history, Fran's married life history, and history of mosquito repellent. Interesting way of describing the story and building a plot. Fran started with a simple explanation or the date, how she met her husband, who is the hero of this story. A young boy who went through a lot and learned by going to California and building fires or putting fires away. And the interesting part about it, that President made a man, or turned boys into men, that eventually become husbands and fathers and helping us to build our lives. So what happened in 1933 still continues. We do not have this program, obviously.
No.
Too bad we don't, because the unemployment is still high, and I believe we should use some of that unemployment features to send our men, and not just men, women, to have the program like that and help us to build our men and our women and our future.
Thank you very much, Isaac.
Thank you.
Alex, thank you very much. Now, your lovely wife, our new chief judge of our district, Amelia Voiland, will evaluate Fern's speech. Hello. Can't see anything in the back there at all, so, but I knew you were coming up.
It's okay. It's
And
all
congratulations on your new role in the district.
good. Thank you so much, Brent. Thank you. Looking forward to it. Good morning, everybody. Fellow Toastmaster viewers, especially Fran. Fran, today you made
Fern.
a speech. Fern. research a topic. It's speech number 7. And you picked a topic that I enjoyed learning about, Northern Lights. I enjoyed how you opened up your speech with telling us how every year you go to a different place and you learn about different things. This year, it was Alaska. And you told us how the Northern Lights are created. And what I enjoyed, I always enjoy learning something new, that it was all about the sun and the sun particles hitting the earth, and how different shapes are created from that and different colors are created. And it was a very great experience. I was able to picture everything, and then when you told us that if you don't have the time to go, you can Google it. And of course, Googling is a great technique to learn about things. Also, Fern brought in a couple of pictures that she showed us about the Northern Lights and the difference from the Northern to Southern Lights, and that was wonderful. The only thing that I would do if I had that speech, I would bring some kind of a light bulb or maybe a disco ball and pretend that this is the sun, and the sun would hit the earth and show it in this way. But I feel that you did a terrific job, and I am looking forward to more of your speeches. Thank you.
How very creative you are, Amelia. Thank you very much. And now Paul Scharf, another past district governor, who I just found out a few days ago after I printed this, that he's this year's Area 42 director. So this is Paul Scharf, who's the first district governor of our new district that split away from District 46 in 2008. Paul, you're evaluating Joan's speech.
No,
No, you're not. Imogene's speech.
No.
What?
try Cindy.
What?
Try Cindy.
Oh, the reader, that's right. Oh, I didn't move it on. Have a good time, Paul. I didn't transpose it
I
over
hope
to this.
that didn't take up part of my minute.
I would never take up part of your minute, Paul. I know better than
Madam
that.
Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, viewing audience, and Cindy. Reading out loud. Cindy, you did an absolutely fantastic job. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items here that I'm supposed to discuss and say whether you did good or bad, or whether you need improvement. And let me tell you something. I've got, now I'm using the word yes, but I've got yes, 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 absolutely, and yes. Not that you need improvement, but yes, they were all right on track. Your vocal variety was fantastic. Your tone, your inflection was great. You gave the audience the sense of what the writer was attempting to do, almost using the writer's voice in the way you presented the presentation. There's one area, well, I shouldn't say there's one area. We're supposed to give you an idea of something that you could improve on. Because we're sitting here or standing here in front of the lectern or behind the lectern, you can't do too much movement. So body movement, there might be a question, but my answer is no, there wasn't a question in body movement. You used your hands. You physically used your face and the upper part of your body, because I'm watching you move as you made some of the statements. Your presentation was absolutely fantastic. You did a wonderful job reading out loud, and I'd like to come to some of your reading classes and listen more. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate that. And now Ken Raftery will evaluate Imogene's speech. I picked the right evaluator, right, Ken? Okay.
Yes, thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, viewers, and especially Imogene. Yes, I agree. I was the perfect evaluator. I do play the piano. I've spoken about Name That Tune on this show before. In fact, I only wish that I knew Imogene was speaking about music. I could have been the accompanist. So she was doing the humorous speech, and it says, what indicated to you that the audience was entertained? There was audible laughter, especially after lines like, breaking up with me? The audience was laughing out loud. What made the speech humorous? I felt there were a lot of stories that we could relate to. I especially related to the story about dreading cleaning. I do as well. The jokes fit in perfectly. They all had music as the backdrop. And I thought that was just a clever idea for a speech, music fitting a mood, because we all have different moods and there's lots of different music out there. They ask about body language and vocal variety. I felt your vocal variety was great, but the body language could have been improved on. It might have been because you were sitting at the table. We really didn't see your hands much at all. How did the stories and jokes tie together? Very well. And I really enjoyed the singing that you did. You weren't just quoting lyrics, you were actually singing them. And I think I knew every song that you sang. And the last thing, what could the speaker have done to improve the presentation? Perfect suggestion. Maybe one last song at the end. How about a duet with Fran? And she said the word world several times at the end. So perfect song. Everyone, what the world needs now.
Come on, watch the colors.
Madam
Watch the lights
Toastmaster.
back there, Ken.
I was.
Okay, thank you very much. And now Liam Gill is going to come up and evaluate Joan's speech. Liam, thank you for doing that.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, viewing audience, as Fran alluded to, Joan filled in for somebody who wasn't able to come today in a short period of time. Most oftentimes, as myself, you need a little more time. As you noticed, that Joan is an accomplished speaker already with DTMs, etc. She was prepared, organized. Of course, no nervousness, etc. She spoke on a topic that she likes to speak on, and as she alluded to also, she reads Reader's Digest, and she wants to inform us of information that she thinks will pick our interest. Oftentimes it's on vitamins, etc. She tried to pick our interest on only bathing your children once or twice a week. I don't know about that. She gave us plenty of information, and I thank Joan Mauricio for filling today. Fellow Toastmasters.
Thank you, Liam. There's a grandpa who takes care of his little grandchildren, so maybe he wants to dunk them every day. Anyway, all right, now we're going into table topics, and for people who don't understand it, usually I give a question out. It's to be answered. Please, no talking back there. Usually the person gets up, they don't know the question, they have to think on their feet and impromptu reply. But Joan and I were talking on the phone a few nights, maybe a week ago, and she started to say something, and I said, don't say anything more, you just gave me my question for the show on Saturday. So this time, because I know you'll all have different answers, I'm calling on the people, and you're all answering the same question. I'm starting with Joan, because if you don't like it, blame her. If you do like it, you can give me all the credit. At least when she talks, I do listen. When I talk to her, she listens to TV. She'll say, oh, you should see that animal. I said, you're
I'm
watching
only
TV
looking.
while I'm talking to you? I told her, if
I'm
you'd
only
rather talk to me.
looking. They're adorable.
That's all right, Joan.
I can't see you
The
on
question
the phone.
is, Joan, what is your favorite number and why do you like it? Joan Maurizio.
I told Fran long ago, fellow Toastmasters viewers, it used to be 3. For the longest time, it used to be 3, until I noticed half the population was saying their favorite number was 3. And there's that old story, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, and those are the most 3 important things in my life. So I said, it's not going to be 3 anymore. I have to pick another number. I don't want to be like half the population. I don't want to be a statistic. So I said, you know what's good? The number 8. 8 is the infinity number. The circles go around and around. You can trace the 8 over and over again without making a mess of it. It'll get darker and darker, but that's fine. Also, the coins on the top and the bottom of the 8 rather the circles, represent coins in the bottom of the 8. So 8 is the number of abundance. But I just found out recently that it's also used in witchcraft and Satan worship. So I'm going to have to pick another favorite number. But thank you for a great question.
Thank you for the idea, Joan. It just shows that when you're on the phone with me, I do listen, and I steal whatever is stealable, correct? All right, Paul Paradise. Oh, you're wearing so many hats today, Paul. Who's my floor manager now with you here? Who's on camera 1 and 2?
I'm not sure.
Okay, Paul, what is your favorite number and why do you like it?
Well,
Paul Paradise.
Thank you. I think my favorite number is probably going to be 4 because July 4th is my birthday.
Oh,
and my birthday's
happy
coming up.
birthday.
And I'm suitably dressed for the occasion because I have a red tie, white shirt, blue pants, white sneakers, of course, and I'm always ready to party because it's my birthday party.
How
coming
about
up.
that?
So I'm very happy to be here and to spend it with my favorite friends today.
Are you a Leo?
Cancer.
Oh, I'm glad I don't have that. I'm the 28th, so I'm a Leo. I like
Oh,
mine. I
okay.
like cats. Okay, thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
All right, Lucy Kahn. Lucy, oh, there you are. Okay, Lucy, what's your favorite number and why do you like it?
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, and guests, and viewing audience. My favorite number was supposed to be 6, but now I think it's going to be 13 because number 13 is considered a lucky number, and I was born on the 13th, so that was one of my lucky number also. And I think being the number 13, everything seems to be, everybody said that 13 is a lucky number, so I think I will start for having that number 13 as my lucky number.
Thank you very much. This is getting funnier than I expected. All right, Ken? All right, Ken, there are many numbers left for you. What's your lucky number and why do you like it?
Yes, thank you, Fran. I'm going to say the number 11, similar to what Lucy just said, because of the birthday. I was born on the 11th of the month. The month was March, if you're curious, or if you share my birthday. Now,
We'll get a card
interestingly,
next year, Ken. Thank you.
my email address has an RAF, which is the first 3 letters of my last name, and then 314. So some people assume that my birthday is March 14th. No, as I already said, it's March 11th. So what does the 314 stand for? Well, it's missing the decimal point, 3.14 pi. See, I'm a math teacher. Now, a student gave me a coffee mug a few months ago, and it had a lot of math symbols to spell out a phrase. If I had more notice, I would have written it down and asked if you could solve it. Now, there's imaginary numbers in math, so the symbol for an imaginary number is I. So it had I. Then I had the number 8. Then I had the Greek letter sigma, which stands for summation. And then it had pi. So it said, I ate some pie.
Oh.
And I liked it. It wrote that out in English, but the others were in math symbols. So
You can tell you like Blackboard, too.
yeah, but of course for the viewing audience, I was making the symbols backwards. So
I was looking to
well,
see
we
if
were
you were
told
thinking.
not to turn around. So.
Thank you. I just let them know you're not just an ordinary first grade math teacher, you're a calculus teacher at Brooklyn Tech. So thank you very much, Ken.
All right, thank you.
Now, do we have our brave new member of our Richmond County Club who signed an application, paid her dues, and our treasurer will sign you up this week as a new member. So we have our first new member of the year. And for everybody's interest, this is Belinda. Okay, don't help me. When people come from a foreign land, it takes me a little bit of time. Belinda Ofori Anjumang.
Yeah,
From
got it.
Lily from Ghana.
Yes.
Yes, and when she asked me to be her evaluator because I'm her mentor, I had trouble understanding her, but I found that she's going to be a delightful member, and I hope you'll come back here and start getting some courage up here. I know out there you said, be on camera, you're going to do fine. Okay, you'll never again get the question ahead of time. This is just a newbie, all right? Belinda, what is your favorite number and why do you like it? And look at that camera.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. My favorite number currently is number 40. Why? Because they say life begins at 40. And after 40, I plan to travel, slow down, and enjoy life. So between now to 40, work hard, take care of my family. Then after 40, it's all traveling and then having fun. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I can't see the time there. Okay. Just very quickly. When I was a child, I was raised by nuns. And my favorite number was always 3, because when we had a contest and the nun wanted, if there was a tie, the nun would tell some child to go next door and ask sister what her favorite number is. It was always 3, because of the Blessed Trinity. But then when I grew older, I realized that, unfortunately, we have people here who have their own reasons, but I chose number 13 because everybody said it was unlucky, and they maligned the poor number 13, so my lucky number now is 313. But Imogene, we have a couple of seconds here to talk. Well, actually, we have just a minute. I have something for you.
Okay.
And I want to, when I was sworn in as president of the North Shore Toastmasters many years ago, you came over to handle the induction ceremony. Do you remember?
Yes.
In some restaurant on the other side of the island. Well, everything about you at that time in your life was the hummingbird. Okay? And I get these cards from charities where I send them money and they keep sending me birthday cards. I know you're in June. I don't know if you're the 3rd or the 6th or the 9th. What is your birthday?
April 6th.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm getting older, and older by the end of this month. Okay, Imogene. Well, I have this beautiful card, and every year I look through my cards to see who's going to get this one. And this year I figured, she's coming on the show. I'm going to hand it to her. I didn't write anything. But isn't that, Isaac, can you do magic? And you get a close-up. Isn't that a beautiful hummingbird?
It's wonderful.
And I figured this way you can frame it or look at it or think of me after I'm gone and say, gee, she was a nut. But anyway, that's for you for
Thank
the
you
birthdays
very
I've missed.
much.
But next year you'll get one in the mail. Absolutely. April, how did that get away from me? Anyway, okay.
Thank you, Fran. Thank you very much.
And I want you to come back here again.
I
I'll
will.
tell you, you're such
I
an asset.
definitely will.
It's such
I
an
won't
asset.
tell you no anymore.
You won't what?
I will never say no to you again about it.
Oh, I wish the other people in my life, ones I live with, would be nice like that too. But I'll tell you, this was a fun show. There were so many corrections on this show, and the people who couldn't make it, I'm going to invite them back because it's very important. We had some very unusual people involved here. I do want George Hopkins to come back and talk about the 18th annual Senior Citizens Poetry Contest this year. And I've invited him, if he can, to come to the August taping, and I'm sure it's still in time. We're just about out of time. I want to thank you all for coming. The new folks from the Miles Square Toastmasters Club coming because of Paul Paradise. Paul, join another club so you can bring members from that club. Anybody who would like to join this club, I will accept you because I think you're a wonderful group of people. I've known Miles Square people for a long, long time. Linda Isaacs is here, and I didn't know whether she was the president ending yesterday or the president this year. So Casey, what's your last name? Olesko. Casey Olesko said she was the new president, so she starts her reign today. I am the newly elected officer, president of Smedley Speakers Advance Club today. So, and you'll have to come back.
Thank you.
Look for a drive here.